Well, the deal that we have been waiting for is finally official. Dallas Goedert is returning to the Philadelphia Eagles for one more year, at least that's what it appears. Now, I have made video after video after video saying that tight end was a priority for the Eagles going into free agency. I had made many points stating that the fact the Eagles did not extend Dallas Goedert was pretty telling. They were going to move on from him. They didn't have an internal option. But I think that they realized that I think initially that was the plan. I mean, when I think back to the Eagles, it was like they had Chad Lewis. They drafted L.J. Smith in the second round to replace him. When they had L.J. Smith, they took Brent Selleck. And I don't know if they were exactly expecting Brent Selleck to become Brent Selleck, but when he did, cool. Okay. They had Brent Selleck for a while. What do? They draft Zach Ertz in the second round. And when they have Zach Ertz, they draft Dallas Goedert. When they drafted Dallas Goedert, who did they draft? Grand Calcaterra. And he didn't pan out the way that Brent Selleck did. Similar situations, late round draft pick, but ended up becoming like the number one tight end and taking it over. And I think initially that was the dream scenario for the Birds, but Grand Calcaterra became a backup, and that's what he is. And he's returning also for another year, but like he is what he is. He's a decent pass-catching tight end, but he's nothing to write home about. He's certainly not a number one because his blocking is meh. So then it was like, okay, well, what about free agency? Well, there was one guy on the open market that made a lot of sense, and then he ended up getting franchise tagged, and that's Kyle Pitts. Other than Kyle Pitts, there's like nobody. I mean, the tight end free agent market is rough. So then you look at possible trades, but who out there are you looking at and you're going like, okay, that team is looking to get rid of a pass-catching red zone threat. I think when you look at the NFL, tight end is one of those positions where if you are a team looking to add to your offense and you're looking to add to a top-end tight end, there's not a ton of them out there. There's not a ton that catch the ball like a wide receiver. I mean, it's the Travis Kelce's, the Mark Andrews, Dawson Knox is good, but he's like wrapped up in a contract. And then Dallas Goedert's there as well. There's a big one that I'm completely forgetting, so hit thumbs down for that. But like Dallas Goedert is probably a top 5-6 pass catching tight end in the NFL. I don't think he's Zach Ertz. I don't think he's ever going to be Zach Ertz. I think his ceiling is probably going to be like an 800-yard, 6 touchdown, 7 touchdown ceiling, But I don't think he's ever going to be like a number one threat the way that Ertz was. And you know what? That's okay. I thought they were going to move on from Dallas Goedert. They decided, okay, when we look at the free agent market and when we look at the trade market, it's probably best if we just keep him. There's also the fact of the dead cap that I hadn't even looked into. So once again, hit thumbs down for that. But moving on from Goedert, I guess, when they backed it up, it would have cost them $20 million to move on from him. That really made no sense. So at that point, it was just a matter of compensation. The fact that it's a one-year deal to me is very, very telling. It's extremely telling. They didn't lock him up to a long-term deal. It's telling for two reasons. One is the fact that the Eagles aren't committed long-term to Dallas Goedert, but also the market for Dallas Goedert wasn't there. Because if it was, he would have left. I think Dallas Goedert wants to be an Eagle. I think he is comfortable in Philly. He's been here. This will be year 9 for him. He's a big part of the offense. He was the number one red zone target this season because their offense was shit. But money talks. And if a team was to offer multi-years at a big number, Dallas Goedert would be on that team right now. I mean, case in point is Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a long-time Tampa Bay Buck. Legendary Tampa Bay Buck. That number will be retired in Tampa Bay. He's not finishing his career out in Tampa Bay. He's finishing out in San Francisco. Money ultimately talks. So the fact that Dallas Goedert couldn't command a big-time multi-year deal was surprising to me. But the Eagles only committing one more year to Dallas Goedert shows me that they're going to draft a tight end in either round 1 or 2. And it's going to be a pass-catching tight end that they will look to teach the blocking schemes to. And look, that position is very, 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 very hit or miss. We've seen some big-time pass-catching tight ends in the previous years that go first, second round, and they never end up amounting to much. And then, conversely, you've got guys that end up getting drafted pretty late, and they end up becoming, greats. So it's going to be on the Eagles scouting department to really find the replacement for Dallas Goedert, because if they don't, it's going to be it might be rough. In terms of, does Dallas Goedert come back for another 1 year extension? The other thing that I'm worried about is, typically, if you draft a guy in rounds 1 or 2 at the tight end position, they don't pop off in that first year. They pop off year 2. And I'm talking like everybody. The only one that I can really think of, the two guys I can think of that popped off year 1 were Sam Laporta for Detroit, popped off year 1, and then Brock Bowers for Vegas, popped off year 1. But typically speaking, 98% of the time, the guys that are drafted highly at the tight end position, and I'm talking like they're thrust into the starting spot, immediately thrust into the starting spot, it's like a 700-yard season at best. 700-yard season, because they're getting used to those blocking schemes in the National Football League, where, a lot of times in college they're just not asked to do it, and they have to get used to a whole new way of playing the tight end position. I'm talking like, look at Gronk, his first year, Travis Kelce's first year, like some of these guys that you look at as all-time greats at the position, they didn't pop off year 1. So if the Eagles are going to go out and they're going to draft a guy in the first round, in the second round, and they're looking at him as the Dallas Goedert replacement, they don't have a long window to decide if this is the guy or not. They have basically 1 season to decide it, and even then, I think we're going to be going into the 2027, 2028 season going, I got questions about the tight end position. What are we getting? We don't know. I mean, it was a small sample size. He didn't get a ton of playing time. What we got, we saw good, we saw some bad, but, we're moving on from Dallas Goedert, steady Eddie, we were getting there, but this guy you don't. I 100% expect to make that video a year from now. I really do. Hopefully the Eagles brass and the scouting department ends up nailing the pick, but the fact that they didn't commit to long term, when the date got pushed back, initially when he was listed as a free agent, I was like, I don't ever really remembering this happen. That's weird. And then the date got pushed back again, and they were probably fighting over years. But I was surprised. But when the date got pushed back initially, I was like, wow, like he's probably coming back. And I think it was because of the fact that the market wasn't good. When Kyle Pitts went off the board, okay, that took away your one guy that you could look at and go, we're going to throw big money at him, because watching Kyle Pitts in this offense would be fun. But ultimately, I think it's a really good move by the Eagles. I thought they were going to move on from him. I made many videos saying, they're probably going to move on from him. Ultimately, they did not move on from him. I like the fact that it's only 1 year commitment. What do you guys think out there? Let me know in the comment section. As far as comments go, I'm probably only going to get back to channel members. I can't talk all of a sudden. So become a channel member, support the channel. That'd be cool. But you can also subscribe, hit thumbs up, smash that thumbs down button if you thought this video sucked. Ultimately, though, I do think it's a good move. All right, I'm going to go. Go Birds.